Unfortunately for Cathie Wood and ARK Invest, things are actually about to get far, far worse, okay? What I'm going to take you through here today is I'm going to show you exactly what's going on after hours and what's going on with these companies' earnings. And a bunch of ARK stocks just reported, and they're all down massively, okay? And I'm going to share some thoughts on this and kind of my opinion on all this. Do I think it's justified? Do I not think it's justified? But before we get into that, I want to get into just showing you the stock. So somebody actually pointed this out in the comment section because the last video I did, somebody pointed, basically I pointed out that Upstart, UPST, this company that does like loans and uses artificial intelligence and whatnot, that stock was down 55%. And somebody in the comment section is like, you got to see Desktop Metal, DM, okay? And so I looked at this stock down 61% today. 61 flipping flapjacking percent. That's insane, okay? When I got in the stock market in 08, 09, and I told people that I was investing in the market and getting in those sorts of things, a lot of people told me not to do it. A lot of people told me it was a scam. I heard that from several different people. Oh, stock market's a scam, okay? And for a long time, I had a chip on my shoulder about, people trying to like steer me away from the stock market and hearing, oh, the stock market's a scam and things like that. And as I had more and more success over the coming years, that chip kind of went away a little bit because I had a lot of success, right? But looking back, I can understand why those folks felt like the stock market's a scam, 100%. Because here you are, right? Let's say you research this Desktop Metal company, right? You're like, I like it. The stock's already down massively. I like the valuation where it's at. I'm a believer in it long term, blah, blah, blah. You put $10,000 into it yesterday. Your $10,000 is now worth $3,900 in a day. In a day. You buy Upstart, you put $10,000 in Upstart, right? Your $10,000 is now worth $4,500 in a day. And with the Upstart company, that wasn't even a money-losing company. That's they make money on the bottom line. They got a positive PE. They have real revenues, right? $1 billion plus are expected to. And so it's not like these are super risky stocks. It's not like some insane strategy with some crazy call options. Like I'm doing a YOLO bet for the end of the next week. And if it doesn't hit here, I'm down 99%. That's not at all the situation. There's just folks buying stocks and getting absolutely obliterated. 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%. 80%, 90%, and people start to think the stock market's a scam because it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Why does that Desktop Metal stock deserve to go down 61% when it was already down, 70 or 80% going in that earnings? Why did Upstart deserve to go down 55% when it was already down 70, 80% into those earnings, right? And so that's what people start asking questions. That's why people some folks say the stock market's a scam and I get it. Like I really understand it because with these sorts of moves, right? Getting devastated like that, like at the end of the day, you're like, this is a real company with real revenues. How does a stock get cut in half in a day, right? So I get it. I understand like that whole thought process, right? I saw this on Fast Money just a few minutes ago. NASDAQ stocks, only 23 stocks have reached new highs. 1,453 NASDAQ stocks just hit basically lows, okay? NASDAQ lows. I mean, that's just extraordinary. The number I'm more curious about is what are the 23 stocks that just hit highs? What in the world? How did any stock hit highs in the NASDAQ? Like, were they doing reverse stock splits or something? Like, that's insane. But this number's startling. 1,453 stocks just hit new lows today. Insane, man. But that's the sort of market we're in, okay? Now, let's get to Cathie Wood and bad news. Bad news for Cathie Wood and ARK Invest, okay? So first off, their 10th biggest investment. And so if we go to CathieWoodStocks.com, this is updated on a daily basis of Cathie Wood's top 25 stocks in the main ARK fund, okay? And the 10th biggest position is Unity Software, ticker symbol U. They have $314 million invested in this company. It makes up about 4% of the weight of ARK Invest, okay? And this stock after hours is down 35%. After hours, 35% for their 10th biggest holding in the ARK fund. And this is a stock that's already been obliterated. The stock was $210, not that long ago, maybe 7-8 months ago or so. And after hours is trading at $31. $31. That's awful, okay? When it comes to Unity Software, by the way, in regards to the way I've heard Unity Software's business model be described, and I got to do more digging on this company, but the way I've heard it described to me is kind of like an AWS for folks that run gaming companies, essentially. And so it seems like an intriguing business model. But in regards to their earnings, they reported a net loss of $177 million. In this market, any loss is bad, right? Heck, you can even make profits and you're bad. Never mind a loss of $177 million. It's a 60-cent a share loss. That's compared to $107 million of loss. So the loss got obviously massively bigger, or 39 cents a share in the year earlier quarter. Adjusted earnings came in at a loss of 8 cents. Revenue increased 36%, but the guidance was no bueno, okay? The Q2 revenue guidance came in at 290 to 295. Analysts were expecting 360. For the full year, Unity is projecting $1.35 to $1.43 billion, and analysts were expecting around $1.5 billion, okay? So, why does this matter so much? Just this one stock, okay? It's not just because this is the 10th biggest holding for ARK, and this is going to pull their whole fund down tomorrow. Never mind the stocks we're about to get into here, okay? The reason this is so dramatic is right now, Cathie Wood, in the markets at least, she is seen as kind of having a credibility problem now at this point in time, right? Because everything is not, it's not like it's going down and it's like, oh, this stock's down 4% here and this stock just fell 6%. I mean, these stocks are falling off a cliff. Like literally off a cliff, down 70, 80, 90%. And then they're showing no signs. Like a Unity, we just looked at that one. That one was 210. It was $40-something. And here into earnings, the stock falls 30-something%. That leads to credibility issues for Cathie Wood and for the ARK ETF, which makes a lot more people to say, maybe I should just pull out money out of ARK, right? And not believe in it anymore. So that's why this matters so much bigger than just this is her 10th biggest position and it just absolutely tanked through the floor. It's much bigger than that, okay? If we look at Cathie Wood's 6th biggest position in the main ARK fund here, okay, it is Coinbase, ticker symbol coin in this one. They have almost $400 million invested in this stock as of right now. At least that's the market value. They're probably, I don't know how much they've invested into Coinbase over time, but it's probably a lot bigger number than that because I think they've been buying Coinbase for a long, long time, okay, basically pretty much since the company went public, from my understanding. The weight of that position on the portfolio is about 5%, okay? So a fairly big weight in a very important position. For Coinbase, the stock's down 15.5% after hours. 15.5%. I mean, it's just another stock that can't get out of its own way, and it's down another 15.5% after hours. It's like, where is the bottom, right? And when it comes to Coinbase, they reported a massive loss of $1.98 when a lot of analysts were expecting a positive number. Revenue came in at $1.17 billion versus $1.48 billion was expected. You can't come in with those sorts of misses in this sort of market. You can't do that, man. I mean, that's just an absolute disaster, right? Overall usage declined from the fourth quarter. Retail monthly transaction users, okay, MTUs, fell to 9.2 million. That's down 11.4% from the fourth quarter. So that's just on a sequential basis. That's awful, okay? While total trading volume dropped from $547 million in Q4 to $309 billion. That's a dramatic cut. Look at that. Just a quarter over quarter from $547 billion to $309 billion. Oh, I mean, that's awful. The company's revenue dropped 27% from a year ago and also reported a net loss of $430 million in the first quarter, okay? I don't even know what to say about that. That's a disaster. And that's across all fintechs right now. To be fair to Coinbase, okay? I don't know any fintechs that are reporting boom numbers right now. They're all pretty much reporting bad numbers. Look at the hood. Look at the numbers they reported, right? All these companies that are in the fintech space, it's bad. And it's bad. And the worst part of that is it's getting worse. Like with a company like Coin, it could easily get worse for at least the next few quarters. And never mind that, Bitcoin, is in a very vulnerable place right now, okay? I mean, a very vulnerable place for Bitcoin right now. This is a new data that just came out recently, said 40% of Bitcoin investors are now underwater, okay? Now, it's very easy to hold any asset. I don't care if it's a stock, if it's a house, if it's a Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, Ethereum, whatever, okay? It's very easy to hold it when it's going up. But what do you do when it goes down, right? that's when it gets tougher for folks to hold. We see that in the stock market all the time. What about when you go down big? That's a whole other scenario, right? So for Bitcoin, a lot of folks have just started to go underwater recently, right? But there may be only a little underwater. What happens if Bitcoin falls to 27, 25, 22, 19? Maybe that doesn't happen, okay? Maybe that never ever happens. But for a second, hypothetically, what if it does, okay? Well, if that situation plays out, I can tell you it's going to lead to a lot more panic from a lot of folks that have obviously gotten into Bitcoin over the past couple of years. Because like I said, when things are going up in price, it is so easy to hold it. Who wouldn't hold it? Like it's like, oh, it's just going up. But when it starts going down and when you start losing money, that's a big thing. When you start losing your profits and now all of a sudden you're in the red, that's when folks got to figure out, okay. And the thing with something like Bitcoin is you have one side of Bitcoin, which is folks that are super believers of Bitcoin and how it's changing the world and how, it's the future, right? And those folks might be right long term. We'll see. They might be right, okay? That folks are placing their money where they believe things are going to change massively for the future. But you've got another side of folks that own Bitcoin that they're only in it because it's been an asset that has been increasing in price and they wanted to make some money. And so they got in and they're like, oh, I'm going to buy, part of a Bitcoin or one Bitcoin or something like that, because they were like, oh, it's going up, it's pumping, and everybody's making money from it, so I want to make money. And the problem is we don't know how many folks are out there that fit that criteria of the folks that have really just gotten in it because it's an asset that's going up and they want to make money, versus the folks that are the diehard believers, the diamond hands that are holding Bitcoin, whether it goes to 10K or whether it goes to $1 million, right? And so we're going to find that out. We're going to find that out in this time period. So far, based upon the crypto companies, and kind of these numbers coming out, it's not looking good. I can tell you that. It doesn't look like there's much, let's call it buy the dip mentality when you just look at the factual numbers. I mean, it's bad. Look at Hood, look at Coin, look at these companies that are public companies. It's bad and it's getting worse, okay? And so that is not a good situation for, obviously, Cathie Wood and the ARK Fund right now, okay? The 21st biggest position for Cathie Wood and the ARK Fund is Roblox. They have 120, or once again, they might have invested way more money than this into this company over time, but as of recently, today, they had $125 million in this Roblox company, all right? And they're down as well after hours, over 7% downward move for this Roblox company, which is obviously a game, okay? Roblox shares fell 10% in extended trading. Earnings came in at a loss of 27 cents as versus a loss of 21 cents was expected. Revenue came in at $631 million versus 636 was expected. That's a double miss. Dude, you can't double miss in this sort of market. And even if your stock's already down huge, like, you still can't come in with a double miss, man. Not in this sort of market. No way, no how. There's no hope for a company in the short term when you come in with double misses. That's just the bottom line. You can't do that in this sort of market. I hold stocks that have come in and beat on one of the numbers and they still went down. I've had companies come in and beat on both the top and bottom line and still go down the next day. And so in this sort of market, if you're going to double miss, oh gosh, man, you want to be talking about being put in the penalty box. That's this sort of market we're in right now, right? Now, something very important folks don't talk about when they talk about Cathie Wood and the ARK Invest ETF, okay, the ARK Innovation ETF, is what is the one thing that Cathie Wood always goes back to time and time again, right? It's her 5-year outlook. And over the next 5 years, we believe we're going to, massively outperform the market and those sorts of things. So it's always a 5-year time horizon. And it's similar to mine, actually. I always look at the next 3 to 7 years when I'm looking at a stock. The next 3 to 5 is really my ideal, I'm investing in a company because I believe in it over the next 3 to 5 years. More than 5 years, it starts to get a little cloudy, in my opinion, because a lot can change over, 7 years, 10 years, 20 years. I think it's hard to buy and hold a stock forever. That's why I call kind of my strategy modern long-term investing. But when it comes to Cathie Wood, she always talks about 5 years, okay? Now, the issue is with the ARK ETF here is the ARK ETF, as of today, is up 53% in the past 5 years, okay? As of tomorrow morning, it's going to not be that same number. It might be 47%, 7%, 45%. Like, we'll see where the ARK trades at tomorrow, but obviously it's not looking good, for at least the morning time. We'll see if the CPI data comes in better than expected and the market pumps and we move up from there. But, no matter what, ARK is likely going to be at a multi-year low tomorrow, right? And so here we are with ARK, being up 53%, and as of tomorrow, probably 40-something%. But the S&P 500, for instance, is up 67% over the past 5 years. Now, this is a massive, colossal issue for ARK and for Cathie Wood, because, folks, it's one thing, like when Cathie Wood stocks were going down, but she was still technically beating the markets on a 5-year basis, right? It was kind of like, it is what it is, right? But now that the S&P 500 is not just beating Cathie Wood over the last 5 years, but it's actually kind of beating her quite substantially, this is where an issue emerges, which is obviously credibility. And for somebody that's running an ETF with billions and billions and billions of dollars, and for such a big name in the stock market, to now be getting outperformed substantially on a 5-year basis by the S&P 500, that's obviously an issue, and it's a pretty big issue. And the problem with this is other investors look at this, right? And a lot of investors like to look at like 5-year performance, 3-year performance, whether it be of an ETF or an index fund or whatever it is, right? They like to look at that. And so now, if you have this fund manager that says, hey, we're all about the 5-year, and you say, okay, let me look at the 5-year, and you see, you're getting pretty destroyed by the S&P 500 over the past 5 years. Wait, why wouldn't I just put my money in an S&P 500 index fund? And so that's the issue, okay, for kind of Cathie Wood. And if they're talking about, if other investors don't put in money into ARK and pull out money, like, you can even get more downside. And that's the toughest thing with this ARK situation, is you look at it and it's like, can this thing really go down anymore? Like, as of this morning, I think ARK was down 74 or 75% from the highs it hit in around January, February of 2021. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, for an ETF, that's ridiculous. And then you're like, can this really get worse? This has to be the bottom, right? And then you see all these earnings come out and just stock after stock of hers tank. Like, not small, like, the stock went down 3%, but like, look at those moves. And it's just like, and so, for Cathie Wood and ARK, they're in a real pickle in this situation. And, I'm hoping for the best, for that whole situation, but it's ugly. It's ugly times ugly right now. And, at least as of the morning tomorrow, it's going to be even worse. Will CPI save things? We'll see. Let's hope. But as of right now, it's awful, man. Just pure awful. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, kind of taking a look at this from a kind of a deeper standpoint. I appreciate you guys joining me as always. Make sure you check out the description area for a bunch of fun links down there. Much love and have a great day.